What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Today we're talking about this.
I told Joe Rogan in a podcast in August when you were discussing all of this that you have viewed evidence of interdimensional beings here on Earth and that they operate through the time spaces that we currently have. Can you explain what you mean by that?
I know that you have essentially written a speech for the president to deliver if he decides to do this. I want to quote just the first line. My fellow Americans and all citizens of Earth, it has come to our attention that extraterrestrial civilizations of great technological advancement have been visiting Earth for some time. Could you see President Trump being the first president to step to the podium and deliver a speech like that?
I do, and apparently his daughter-in-law believes so as well. And I think the reason for that is that there are so many pressures about this subject coming out in the next few months that delaying it much longer would not be proper. And I've advised in a briefing we did for the White House that they do not want to be behind the curve on this. They want to not have it come out through other countries or in some other way.
Former CIA officer who was at the White House this morning talking to his friends, and he says that a decision has been made to attack Iran on Monday or Tuesday.
Do you think this is to distract from the current scandal?
Probably in part, yeah.
How about them saying they're going to release the UFO files last night, which I've wanted released forever, but
yeah,
like,
I know, right?
Timing,
I mean, we've been talking about this for years.
the timing.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
All right, Vetters, please hit that like button. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button, y'all. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers. We are less than 500 subscribers away. I can't even believe it. We're about to hit the number, y'all. All right, Vetters, so what's today's video about? Well, it looks like we may be getting these UFO files that Donald Trump promised sooner rather than later. Tulsi Gabbard recently just put out a statement about the files, as well as Anna Paulina Luna. So we're going to get into all of that and just the overall response, you know, from a lot of different people about Trump declassifying these UFO files. And honestly, it sounds like everyone's on board for this. Now, what will it mean? That is still left up in the air, but we're going to get into all of that. So, as well as Dr. Stephen Greer claiming to have briefed the White House, okay, and prepared a speech for Donald Trump, you know, about these files and everything, right? So let's get into all of it. Now, before we continue, I do have a video correction that I want to announce. A few videos ago, I made a video about Lou Elizondo and some allegations against him by someone named Scott Wolter. He has since left a comment on Twitter saying that he was not talking about Luis Elizondo in this video that I made about him. So just want to make that clear. I've also added that to the video as well. And he says, yes, it's very easy to see how you would think it's Luis Elizondo, but he's not talking about him. He's talking about someone named Holden. And he said if you'd have seen the 30 seconds before the viral clip that had gone out, you would have seen he wasn't talking about Luis Elizondo. So there you go. A guy just won $1 million by creating an AI film using VO3 on the stage of the 1 Billion Followers Summit, hosted by the UAE government. A 19-year-old girl runs an AI automated agency and earns $100,000 a month. And the most recent report from Forbes shows that employees who use AI at work are earning 40% more than those who don't. The AI employment paradox is alive, and February matters because the early adoptive phase is over. So the question is simple: will you watch this shift or win from it? Introducing Outskill, the first ever AI-focused educational platform to accelerate AI learning for people like you and me. They're hosting the 2-day AI Mastermind training live this Saturday and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern on both days. And right now is the perfect moment to join because you can get in absolutely free for the next 48 hours. This 16 hours AI training has already built 10 million plus AI first professionals worldwide and is rated 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. People from marketing, finance, operations, product, and engineering. Join this just because this is not specific to any one industry, but is now needed across every one of them. This is where you learn how to build AI agents that plan, write, execute, and report for you, automate workflows that run even while you sleep, connect tools like Sheets, Notion, CRMs, and email to create profitable systems. Use AI to save hours every week and get an unfair advantage at work. Not just that, you'll learn how to profit from these skills. People from this very training have launched AI-powered services that bring in 3 to 4K weekly by just applying the systems they're taught. To kickstart your year, you'll also get premium lifetime bonuses like the AI Prompt Bible, the AI Profit Roadmap, your personalized AI Toolkit Builder, only if you attend both days. And here's the most interesting part. When you sign up, you'll get access to the 2026 AI Survival Hackbook, a comprehensive compilation of the upcoming AI shifts in 2026 and the practical steps you can take to be prepared. Seats are limited. Use the link in the description to join. And join the WhatsApp community to stay updated before the big blast. All right, so the Office of the DNI, which is the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, released a statement on Twitter along with a video, which we'll get to that video in just a moment. But let's take a look at the tweet they put out, or statement, as you will. On day one of his presidency, POTUS promised to deliver accountability through transparency by declassifying long-withheld government secrets and evidence of wrongdoing to restore trust in our federal agencies. 500,000 documents declassified in year one alone. JFK, RFK, MLK, Amelia Earhart, Russian hoax, weaponization, and soon, files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, UAPs, and UFOs. I like how Amelia Earhart's in there. That's so funny to me. But hey, what happened to Amelia, right? All right, so this is exciting, right? We're pushing forward with the declassification of these files, and again, they released a video along with this statement. Let's take a look at that.
Thanks to President Trump's leadership and his day one executive orders, we've been focused on transparency and accountability. First, declassifying over 500,000 government documents in a single year. We exposed the Russia collusion hoax, this fabricated so-called intelligence engineered by the Obama administration to orchestrate what was essentially a coup, using lawfare manufactured investigations and impeachments and harassment, subverting the will of the American people in the deep state's attempt to delegitimize the president and the American people who elected him.
All right, so there's no mention of the UFO files in this video. It seems like propaganda, to be honest, if I'm just right. Like, doesn't it just, it seems just like, you know, I'm all for the country and this, but it's like, you're the director of national intelligence. What do you, it sounds odd. Honestly, that video seems very odd, but I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I don't really care. Let's get those files out and we can do with them what we want, right? And again, it seems like it's moving quicker than I expected, to be honest with you. Now, the value of these files, again, undetermined at this point till we see what's going on. But Anna Paulina Luna has talked about some videos that are going to be coming out with the release of these files, right? So here's a tweet that Anna Paulina Luna put out as well. It is looking like all UAP files will be housed on U.S. National Archives website. We'll know more soon. All right, so again, and she also talked about these UFO videos that are going to be coming out, and everyone could decide for themselves. She's done a few interviews talking about it. And I, for one, let's go. I'm excited to at least see what it is, right? It's more than we'll have had before, right? Does it prove the phenomena? I don't know, but it could help for anyone wondering, has the U.S. government been hiding information about UFOs? Clearly, they have. Now, does it mean aliens? You know, that is still undetermined, right? Are all the famous crashes you may have heard of at all the different bases and agreements with aliens and this, is it going to prove any of that? I mean, I doubt that comes out in declassified files, right? I mean, that just doesn't sound likely. It sounds likely that they're just going to put out all the stuff. They haven't figured out what it is, and we still won't know what it is, right? But again, we'll be further along than we have been. Will it be disclosure? Not exactly, right? If they release proof, you know, here's the alien spacecraft, here's the bodies, that's different. But I don't think this is where this is headed. But maybe it is once all the UAP files come out. Then we can get to the craft and bodies if there are any, right? I don't know. But either way, I can see why people are pessimistic about it. And I can see why people are optimistic about it. I get it, right? You know, sometimes it's nice to celebrate a little victory. And we can decide afterwards how big a victory it is. So I do look at this as a good thing. Let's get out what the government knows about this. But will it be all of it, right? What is a track record of the government really revealing everything they know? It's not good, right? I mean, where are we with the Epstein files? We still haven't got all that, right? So, and did we really find out what happened to Amelia Earhart? No. JFK? No, right? RFK, MLK. We get more information, but it doesn't solve the case, right? So kind of feel like that's where we're going to be with this. But again, it's more information than we had, right? And maybe this will push other governments to do this as well, right? So still very interesting nonetheless. Now, here's a compilation of just different figures, public figures, talking about Trump, you know, declassifying the UFO files.
Some of those videos that, you know, that's been released over the couple of years. So for me, now, if President Trump is going to release everything, I think that's fantastic.
I'm really excited that this is coming out. I hope it's not another distraction. Remember during COVID, we learned aliens were real. There were UFOs, there were UAPs, and then everybody's like, yeah, so what? And so I hope this isn't just another like, well, let's just put it out there and see if they catch it this time.
They shut that airspace down over El Paso, and you and I know why. The cartels have drone technology. They've been working with China, and they are able to do things that we don't know how to counter. And it spooked us. And that's what I want to know about is what are we doing about this and why won't you tell us? Right. But I still go back to the original suspicion, though, Lou. Biden didn't do this. Trump came in and said, I'll do it. And you and I were all excited. Trump then comes in and they don't do it. And now you think because he just said that he's going to do it, that something's going to change? Why should I believe it?
There has been curiosity for decades about whether or not, you know, UFOs exist, what the American government knows. And so I think at this point, President Trump is saying, you know what, let's let the American people see what we know. And I think that's a really important thing.
I told Joe Rogan in a podcast in August when you were discussing all of this that you have viewed evidence of interdimensional beings here on Earth and that they operate through the time spaces that we currently have. Can you explain what you mean by that?
What I can also tell you is based on our interviews, and this has been something that you can go back and watch with the congressional hearings, but I was actually able to ask some of the witnesses, you know, what are these things? And they keep saying interdimensional. And then when you talk about the interdimensional aspect of, you know, are these things pre-existing, maybe outside of what we currently know as our own dimension? That stuff can kind of all sound crazy, but at the end of the day, you know, my job as an investigator is to receive all the information, decipher it, and then ultimately from a congressional aspect, if you do have contractors that are withholding information or operating outside of the purview of the federal government, I mean, there's budgetary issues, but there's definitely something that I can tell you with confidence that exists that we don't know how to explain currently.
And this is just where my brain goes, because I tend to break things down like logically and like, what got us here, right? So Obama's on this podcast and he gets asked, is there alien, right? That was the question.
What's funny is Sean Spicer there at the end, who I believe was the press secretary for Trump in his first term, part of the way, he gets it wrong. He's like, you know, I like to think logic and this and that, and then he gets it wrong. That's not the question Obama was asked. The question Obama was asked wasn't, is there alien? And first of all, he says alien, not aliens. Is there alien? Is that even a sentence? Right? I mean, look, I put my foot in my mouth many times too. So, yeah, I get it. But this is the question Obama was asked specifically.
A couple questions here. Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them. And
right? Are aliens real? Right? And it is different than what Sean is saying, but nonetheless, it is interesting to hear what everyone's thoughts are. I really haven't seen anyone I guess there have been some people upset that this is happening because they think it's Trump trying to cover up what's happening with the Epstein files, a distraction, or an attack on Iran from the U.S. government, right? And so people just think this is a complete distraction. I mean, check out this clip on the Julian Dory podcast with ex-CIA officer John Kiriakou claiming that he had an inside source tell him on Friday, this past Friday, that today or tomorrow, okay, Monday or Tuesday, that the U.S. was going to be attacking Iran. So this was some sort of a distraction, potentially, about the alien files.
The last thing today, John. This has been good, but I know that some of this is.
I'm intellectually exhausted now. I'm very upset by all this.
I can see. So I don't. I don't want to.
It's like what happened to our country?
I don't want to torture you. But I do have to get to the one thing that we left off from the beginning, which is what you heard about the whole Iran thing. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah. I'm just going to let you go with whatever you're allowed to say.
So I have a friend, former CIA officer, who was at the White House this morning talking to his friends, and he says that a decision has been made to attack Iran on Monday or Tuesday. The president yesterday gave the Iranians 10 days to accept our proposals for an end to their ballistic missile program, an end to their uranium enrichment program, an end to supporting groups in the Middle East like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. But he's done this before. Well, he'll give you 10 days, he'll give you 2 weeks, and then he'll just attack 2 days into it. He thinks that keeps people off balance. The USS Abraham Lincoln has been in the Arabian Sea for weeks. We've got about 24 support ships in the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, and the Eastern Mediterranean. We've got the USS Gerald Ford, which is in Gibraltar right now. It's passing through the Straits of Gibraltar like today on its way to the Eastern Mediterranean and probably through the Suez Canal into the Red Sea. So we're going to have enough assets to attack Iran in the next couple of days. And so he said that there are battle lines, that the anti-war forces are J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard. He said that
That's it?
That's it. He said the pro-war people are led by Marco Rubio and include Pete Hegseth and now the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I stopped him on that point this morning and I said, wait a minute. I said, during the Iraq War, at the start of the Iraq War, the most stridently anti-war component was the Joint Chiefs of Staff. They were always the last ones that wanted to attack because they know what war is. And he said, but you forget, Trump has replaced all of the Joint Chiefs this year, in the past 12 months, which I had forgotten. Any of these four-star generals who, had worked their way up through the ranks, but had served under Biden, he fired all of them. All of them. And he promoted people that he knew would be politically loyal. So, Julian, I've always been one of these glass half full guys.
Me too.
I've always been optimistic about things. And I've been saying a lot in my own podcasts, in written pieces. We went through round 1 with the Omanis in Muscat. We went through round 2 with the Swiss in Geneva. Both sides came out and said these were both productive meetings. We're going to go to round 3. Everything's looking good. The Omanis are asking us to just relax and let them do what they're good at. The Omanis are really, really good at diplomacy. Really good. Mm-hmm. They're very, very good friends. And they're honest. So the Iranians trust them as well. And I think that none of that really matters right now. I think a decision's been made.
Do you think this is to distract from the current scandal?
Probably in part, yeah.
How about them saying they're going to release the UFO files last night, which I've wanted released forever, but
yeah,
like,
I know, right?
Timing.
I mean, we've been talking about this for years.
The timing.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, it is very interesting, to be honest with you, but you know, it's like we can do multiple things. We can have the Epstein files released. We can get the UFO files. I don't think America should be going to our war with Iran. Getting us into more wars is not good. I mean, what's the real reason? Could anyone on the street that you stop and go, why are we attacking Iran? I don't know. I don't know. It's like, if the American people don't even know what we're doing it for, what are we doing, right? I hope it's not because Israel wants to do it. And, you know, we're not going to get political in this, but I think, can Trump using the UFO topic, I hope he's not using it as a distraction for other things, because people take the UFO topic very seriously, myself included. And that would definitely anger a lot of people later, right? That will come back to bite them. That's a short game win rather than a long game win. So we'll just have to wait and see, honestly. But the files are coming. What they are, what we get, still undetermined. But of course, Stephen Greer had to go on the news and say that, you know, he's briefed the White House and he's got a speech ready for Donald Trump. Take a listen.
I know that you have essentially written a speech for the president to deliver if he decides to do this. I want to quote just the first line. My fellow Americans and all citizens of Earth, it has come to our attention that extraterrestrial civilizations of great technological advancement have been visiting Earth for some time. Could you see President Trump being the first president to step to the podium and deliver a speech like that?
I do, and apparently his daughter-in-law believes so as well. And I think the reason for that is that there are so many pressures about this subject coming out in the next few months that delaying it much longer would not be proper. And I've advised in a briefing we did for the White House that they do not want to be behind the curve on this. They want to not have it come out through other countries or in some other way, asymmetrically, let's say, and they want to be ahead of this. So I think it looks like it is picking up steam. And of course, what actually gets decided by the president, I'm not privy to per se, not directly, but I do think this is coming on a fast track right now.
So it's just like, I briefed the White House. I mean, he could have just sent an email. He said this last year too, like, I briefed the president. What? People say that stuff. It's like they could have just, again, sent some files. They have no idea if they got it. They have no idea of anything, right? And Trump's not going to see this and go, yeah, give me that speech Dr. Stephen Greer wrote, and then I'll just say that. Does Trump seem like the type of guy to just say that? No, right? And allegedly, he's already got a speech prepared. And he's not going to ask Stephen Greer to write a speech for him. No offense, but, anyway. It's like everyone is jumping on this. Everyone is trying to attach themselves to it. I see a lot of people trying to take credit for it. A lot of hard work. We made this happen, sort of thing. Like, what? So just very interesting, nonetheless, right? We're definitely curious to see where this goes. I mean, we're blowing up a balloon. Is it going to pop? Are we going to be able to hang it up and celebrate? I don't know. But something else that is kind of interesting. Let's imagine what Trump talking about aliens in contact with them would actually look like. Check out this animation that was released on Twitter. It's hilarious.
Just got off the phone with the aliens, and they really like me. I have a great relationship with them, but I wish I didn't FaceTime with them because they're really nasty looking, and I made some unpleasant jokes, but I think they like me. We have a deal like you wouldn't believe that's about to happen. I found out they have oil like you wouldn't believe. They don't even touch it. They told me, you're crazy for using oil. I said, you're crazy for not using oil. What's wrong with these aliens? You know, you think aliens would be smarter than us, but apparently they're not, because all they wanted for the oil, think of this, all they wanted for the oil is Marco Rubio. I guess he has some kind of special lineage. They really want Marco Rubio. They love him. And I thought, that's fantastic. Look, Marco's not going to be happy about it, but one person for trillions and trillions of barrels of oil, you have to do it. So Marco's not going to be too happy about it, but he's probably already on his way. I made the phone call.
Oh man, I laughed so hard when I saw that, y'all. That is absolutely hilarious, right? That impression is so spot on. I talked to the aliens, all they want is Marco Rubio. So funny. God, that's hilarious. Oh, we gotta laugh about this stuff, y'all, right? Yeah, just absolutely hilarious. And let's be real, considering the timeline we live in, if this is even real, if we're in a simulation, that doesn't seem too far off from an actual, some things Trump would actually say about this. I'm not gonna lie, right? It doesn't seem that far off, to be honest with you. Oh man, hilarious. Now, someone else who has come out and spoken about all this, about the Trump, declassifying the UFO files, is Jay Stratton, who was featured in the Age of Disclosure documentary. You may remember, may know who he is. He's got a new book coming out soon. He released a statement. Here's what he said. President Trump's announcement is a landmark occasion for us all. After years of fighting for disclosure behind the scenes, I couldn't be prouder to be a part of this turning point in human history. Congratulations and thank you to Dan Fair for making the truly groundbreaking film, The Age of Disclosure. Less than 3 months after the film's release, 2 U.S. presidents acknowledged non-human intelligent life exists. And President Trump has issued an historic disclosure order. We are all living in the age of disclosure. There will be more watershed moments and issues to face ahead, but I hope all of humanity celebrates this moment. Well, there's not really anything to celebrate, right? Essentially, I mean, again, maybe you celebrate a little, but this isn't disclosure. This isn't the big reveal. It's so interesting to me that people celebrate the race before they cross the finish line. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you going to do when disclosure actually comes? You've already celebrated, right? People keep celebrating. And I don't think the film had anything to do with it, if I'm being honest, but it was a nice plug of him to throw out, about this. But, Obama said, statistically speaking, there are aliens. Okay. I think the whole world agrees with that, right? And he's already made a lot of comments about UFOs and aliens, actually more than Trump has ever made, right? So anyway, is this a historic order? I guess it kind of is, right? The sitting president wanting to declassify the UAP files. Again, they want to declassify everything they have about aliens, extraterrestrials, UAP, UFOs. But let's be real. If they don't say that aliens are on Earth interacting with humanity and we have craft and bodies and technology, people aren't going to believe it, right? The diehards are going to be like, he's lying. They're lying. They haven't released everything. There's more, right? That's what I'm saying. Unless people get the answer they want, they're going to think it's all a lie, right? Because people already think a certain thing from the government. So unless the government delivers that thing that they think, they're just going to say it's a lie. And then what? Then where are we at? You're going to be pushing for the government to release more stuff. And they're going to be like, we don't have anything more. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. We don't know. That's why I'm so critical of all these government people talking about aliens, UFOs, and this and that. We haven't boxed them in. They haven't been professionally vetted, right? By a lot of different people. They're just allowed to say all of these things with no proof or evidence, and it's left people thinking and assuming a lot of different stuff about our government, right? They say all of this evidence exists, but are we going to get it? I don't know. I mean, look, I'm ready to celebrate. But for me, true disclosure is the acknowledgement that we are not alone on this planet. Not that just aliens exist. I think everyone thinks we're not alone in this massive universe, right? Right? So, I don't know. Very interesting, where we are. And we're going to end on this clip from Anna Paulina Luna on Fox News talking about just the overall story, right, that's out there, right? That basically different military factions or just the government itself, the U.S. government, has been hiding this from us, right? But also acknowledging that they could be hiding just secret military stuff that's human-made, right? That it's not all alien stuff. So I just think that's important to consider, right? I'm not trying to be pessimistic or optimistic or anything. I'm just trying to be realistic here because I truly want aliens to be real, right? And I want, this Roswell to be real and all these things. Oh, we got craft, we got body. Yes, that's awesome. But I don't want to just fake believe it, right? I don't want my want of belief to overcome the reality of the belief, right? Of reality, right? I want the real truth. I'd rather be disappointed that, aliens aren't real than to live some fantasy that, that it's not happening, because the phenomena can still be real, but our government doesn't have anything or doesn't have all the stuff that people have claimed. Again, maybe just one craft and one body, which still a win in my opinion, if you ask me. But clearly there's been a lot of people lying. We just don't know who. Either all of them have been lying or just some of them have been lying, right? But not every story you've ever heard is true. We're all skeptics here. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, there are some positive things to take away from this. And people can be cautiously optimistic, which maybe is, the fairest way to be at this point. Still optimistic. Yay, files are coming. Okay, cool. Let's see what it is first.
So you're saying that the Air Force has covered up UAP sightings. So, if there is potentially, is it because it's technology that we have that they don't want anyone to know that we have militarily? Or is it that it's a foreign actor who has some abilities in technology and things that spin in ways that we can't understand?
Based on our interviews that we've conducted, not just in person, but also given some of the testimony that we've received, we do have reason to believe that this tech is not created by mankind. However, it is also possible that there are certain advanced weapons that the U.S. government may have that they're denying us access to. But here's the problem. When you have unelected bureaucrats denying access to members of government that are supposed to oversee and write the checks for that federal spending, and then we're also getting reports that there are people being threatened, whether it be physically, whether there have been, interesting deaths associated with people that have been coming forward as whistleblowers, which has been brought up in some of the testimony that we've received, not just myself, but you saw recently there was a movie that came out, The Age of Disclosure, where this was also referenced now by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. This is one of the most bipartisan and bicameral things in Washington, D.C. And so we definitely are looking forward to sharing this and exploring this further with the American people.
Anna Paulina Luna, Congresswoman, thank you. It's fascinating, and I think we all want to know more about this. I think it's sort of tripped back into the universe, so to speak, with sort of an offhanded comment by President Obama that turned into something deeper, and now we may get some more disclosures. We'll see. At least there's pressure for it.
All right, vetters, all the source links down below. We'll see you guys on the next one. Remember, every day is a gift, y'all. Peace.
Hey, Patrick, Ryan from Oklahoma. We enjoy your podcast, man. You're doing a great job getting some guests in and really, really hustled together a great show. And we just want to tell you that we appreciate it. Long story short, I'm a Cherokee, live in Northeast Oklahoma. Years ago, when my father was on a weird shift, we went fishing late at night, about 2:30, 3 o'clock, near a dam on the Arkansas River. We were the only ones down there fishing. all of a sudden, my dad and I, we got a weird feeling, both of us, and when we looked at each other, and our hair on our head become energized. We're up against a powerhouse, a power plant, and they were generating electricity, and it was a different type of, basically an electrical feeling, you know, when you're up next to a power plant, a hydro plant. And all of a sudden, my dad said, son, get your stuff together. This was about 1988. And we packed our stuff up, and all of a sudden, over the bluff, over this kind of big rock ledge, a triangle-shaped craft come right over the top of us. And the feeling just intensified. And my dad said, I wonder what that is. You know, you think it's an airplane pulling something? It was as big as it was almost as big as a football field. And there was nothing pulling it, and it was blocking out the stars. And we just sat there and watched it, and it just came right over our heads, turned, and went up the river towards a military base. And we haven't seen anything like that since. But anyway, that's my story. Again, Patrick, good job on the show. Keep up the good work, brother. Bye-bye.